The Champions League quarterfinal draw has just been announced, and I'd like to make my predictions for the winners of the respective quarterfinals. So let me first predict Arsenal versus Bayern. Bayern have a pretty decent overall squad, but they're hampered by the fact that they have an absolute trash big game player in Harry Kane. He's going to be a huge negative point for them, and I think that that's going to go in Arsenal's favour, especially since Arsenal have one of the best defences in Europe this season. And I feel like Arsenal getting past Porto was a huge mental boost for them. All the pressure are going to be on Bayern, who really need to win the Champions League this season, or it's going to be a failure. They're not going to win the Bundesliga. But for Arsenal, it doesn't really matter if they go out. They've already done what they should. Even if they go out against Bayern Munich, and no one's going to really look down on them for it. So they can just play without inhibition. So I think Arsenal win this tie. And then we have Dortmund versus Atletico. I previously said that I thought Atletico were the second best team left in the competition. But one thing I didn't mention is that Atletico generally perform better against top sides in the Champions League KO stages than against weaker sides. So for example, in the 15-16 season, they beat some of the very best versions of Barca and Bayern within 180 minutes. Neither ties even went to extra time. But against a much weaker PSV Eindhoven, it went all the way to penalties. And then there's the 19-20 season, where Atletico beat the very best version of peak Liverpool and went out to Leipzig in the next round. Atletico seem to do much better when they're the underdogs, but when they come up against minnows who just defend deep and have nothing to lose, they seem to struggle much more. And the fact that Dortmund are a very, very solid defensive side this season goes in their favour. Dortmund have only conceded 5 goals in 8 Champions League games this season. This prediction might come and bite me in the ass, but I genuinely feel that Dortmund might go through in this round. Next, we have the heavyweight clash of the quarterfinals, Man City versus Real Madrid. Frankly speaking, I think Man City are going to absolutely crush Real Madrid. Real Madrid don't have a proper centre forward. Their midfield lacks control. Tchouameni's an absolute trash DM, especially in big matches. Not to mention Militao is out. Courtois is out. I don't think Man City are going to have too much trouble. My prediction for this tie is Man City go through. Lastly, there's Barca versus PSG, and I think that PSG go through. Now, PSG have a history of bottling Champions League KO ties, but Barca have been very shaky defensively in big games in the last few seasons. Even last season, where they were barely conceding in the league, but just conceding bucket loads whenever they played big games, conceding loads of goals against Real Madrid, Manchester United. I think PSG might have a few jittery moments, but ultimately, they do have by far the best player of the 21st century, Kylian Mbappe. And I think that his excellence will propel them to the semi-finals. So my pick for this round is PSG. So what do you think about my predictions? Do you disagree with them? Do you agree with them? Let me know what your predictions are in the comments below.